Stop. If you believe these crochet myths, you might be making your life way harder than it needs to be. I know that some of the things I'm about to tell you might seem true, but they are actually holding you back. And just so you know, the fifth myth that I'm about to tell you is something that I also believed for quite a few years, and I was wrong. If you're new here in the channel, I am Bianca from Crocheniacs, and if you want to learn how to crochet amigurumi from scratch, or if just like me, you love everything amigurumi related, then this is the right channel for you. Myth number 1, no-sew patterns are always easier. I know that this is a very polemic and controversial topic in the amigurumi world nowadays, and many crocheters do believe that no-sewing patterns are always easier both to crochet and also to create, but it's not necessarily true. One thing for sure is that no-sewing patterns eliminate this struggle to attach amigurumi parts together, sewing limbs, for example. However, no-sewing amigurumi patterns, some of them, can also be a bit tricky because they involve other techniques to attach things together, crochet amigurumi parts together without sewing, and they demand a bit more technique and experience. For example, if you're crocheting a doll, a no-sewing doll pattern, and suddenly you realize that one arm is like to the front of the body and the other one is in the back, there is no easy way to fix it. You have to like frog half of the project to correct it, while if it was sewed, well, you just frogged the sewing of one arm and replace it. Actually, there is a video here, a very good one, where I teach you how to position everything and sew amigurumi parts correctly so you don't have to frog anything.
Thank you!
But getting back to today's video topic and also the example of the arms that I just gave you, if you're, for example, attaching arms in a no-sewing amigurumi doll, it demands you to be way more precise in your stitches than if you need to sew parts together. I hope it makes sense. Well, I like to show you examples so it makes the process easier to understand. I have two patterns here. This one is Toothless, my dragon, and it's super cute. It's still not available because it will be the pattern reward for my Patreon community for the month of May. Yeah. And this is Tiger. It's available in my shop in case you want it. But just so you can follow my explanation, this amigurumi here, Tiger, I sewed the arms to the body. Very simple sewing. It took me like 5 minutes to finish. While this one, I crocheted these arms. It's not the arms like the front legs. They were crocheted with the amigurumi. So in order to have the front legs in the front of the body and not like twisted to the sides, you have to be very precise in your stitch counts and how much your stitches lean to the sides. It demands more practice and more experience, while this one can be a bit more beginner friendly. So some no-sewing amigurumi patterns can be easier indeed, but it's not necessarily a rule.
Got it!
Number 2, acrylic yarn is bad for amigurumi. Well, if you watched other videos here in the channel, you know I am not an acrylic girl. I like cotton. This is my favorite type of yarn for amigurumi. And I also like polyester fiber a lot, the plushy chunky yarn. I crocheted beautiful amigurumi with it. Actually, there is a nice example here in the back. And to be completely honest with you, I don't even have an example of an amigurumi crocheted with acrylic yarn because I am not that big fan of that type of fiber. But it doesn't mean that crocheting amigurumi with acrylic yarn is something bad. I always say it here, but it actually depends on the effect that you want to create with your amigurumi and the purpose that you're crocheting it. Is it to decorate your room like the ones that I have here, or do you want it to be a little bit more like a pillow so you can put in your couch or in your bed? Do you want to gift it to a kid or to an adult? It all depends on the purpose that you have. So acrylic yarn is not bad. I know some people who love to crochet with acrylic, and I respect it 100%. It is a matter of preference. Acrylic yarn has its drawbacks, but there are also some advantages. They're usually more budget friendly, they're soft, and for certain amigurumis, they are indeed a very good option. Next myth is very good. Myth number 3, tire tension is always better. Is it? Well, you all know that my stitches are pretty tight. You don't see gaps between stitches, regardless of the fiber that I'm crocheting or the brand, for example, because I crochet with very different brand types here. And well, I said it before, I usually use cotton or polyester, but regardless of the yarn that I choose, my stitches are very close and I do have a tight tension. But tight tension is not always good. And all this chat about tension can be something very difficult to explain sometimes. I really believe that it's easier if I showed you a few things, or even if you were next to me, like right next to me, and I could show you the difference and you could feel the difference of the stitches in your hands, because it is something very subtle to explain. But the thing is, I'm not saying here that you have to lose your tension, but instead you need to find balance. And this is the tricky part to explain, but it's important to find a good balance. And why am I saying it? Because I see that, I'm always saying that in my videos, that I have a tight tension. I say it on Instagram and all my social media platforms, but especially here on YouTube, because it's more like a friendly conversation what we have here, and I really like this kind of thing.
Me too!
Because the truth is that super tight stitches can actually distort your amigurumi. It hurts your wrists, your thumbs, your, I don't know, arms, and your shoulders. You'll start to feel pain, which is never good for sure, but you also distort the shape of your amigurumi. And I have seen it happening with lots of people, because I'm constantly telling you that my stitches are tight, so people try to like copy this idea that my stitches are tight, but it's actually a balance what I have. I do have tight stitches, but I try to leave them loose enough so I don't hurt myself. There are no gaps between stitches, and the shape that I create is not distorted. And I've seen it happening. For example, you know, I like to play with different shapes. I have some amigurumi with a square head, and I have different shapes. For example, like my white rabbit here, it took me such a long time to develop the shape of his head. I cannot even remember how many times I crocheted his head. I think it was, I don't know, 6, 7 times until I got to the shape that I wanted. So if I put too much tension in it, the amigurumi already has a different shape. It's not a typical round amigurumi ball. It has a different shape, and if I put too much tension in it, I might distort my stitches, and in the end the amigurumi will not be beautiful. So it's important to balance. Not always having tight stitches is the best way to go. And also, if you love this amigurumi that I'm showing you in this video, and you want to be the first one to grab those patterns, they are all part of the monthly report in my Patreon community, which is an amazing place full of crochet maniacs, and I would love to have you in this community as well. So now, let's get back to the next myth. Myth number 4, more expensive yarn, better results. This is a big myth. We talked a lot about yarn in this video, and actually there are plenty of videos here in my channel that I talk about how to choose yarn for a project, the difference between cotton acrylic and polyester, and videos that I make reviews about different brands that I have already worked with, both for cotton and for polyester. So I'm not going to be very specific about it, but you can do your research here on the channel, do your Bianca flicks here on the channel, and I'm sure you're going to have a lot of fun. But actually, price is not a parameter that I look at when I am trying to, I don't know, buy more yarn or find a different yarn brand to work with. What matters for me is texture and structure. Usually the prices of the cotton yarn that I work with for amigurumi varies from, I don't know, 250 to 4 euros. I usually don't pay more than that. I actually don't remember buying a cotton yarn that was more than 4 or 450, but I have a cotton yarn, 100% cotton yarn that I bought. I don't remember the brand. I think it was Drops, which is very famous. I think you know that. But I paid like 1 euro. It was a sale, a Black Friday sale. The yarn was already cheaper than the others and the website was on sale. 1 euro, and I loved the yarn. It was so good. I crocheted a couple of amigurumi with that yarn and I don't have anything bad to say about it. So yeah, not always price has something to do with quality, and you do not need to buy the most expensive yarn available at the store to have a better amigurumi. There are other things involved. And the last one, I told you in the beginning of this video that the last one was interesting and kind of tricky and controversial, and I am so looking forward to hear your opinion about this myth number 5, which is, if you can crochet a scarf, you can crochet an amigurumi. And this is a myth. For sure it is a myth.
What?
Well guys, crochet is not one size fits all. Switching from a flat crochet piece to a 3D shaping is a huge adjustment. And you need to be very honest with yourself about this thing. It's not because you crochet scarves or blankets, for example, that you get any amigurumi pattern and it will be perfectly good at your first attempt. Because we are talking about different skills. And this is true, it happens to everyone. I mean, of course, it will be easier for you if you crochet, I don't know, a blanket for 20 years and you want to crochet your first amigurumi. It will be easier for you to start because you already know how to hold the crochet hook. You know what is a single crochet, you know the stitches, but the techniques involved, they are different. When we crochet garments, we want them to have movement, so our attention is very different from when we are crocheting an amigurumi. I have crocheted other things in my life as well, but I would say that I'm not a pro in crocheting a dress, for example. And I also know how to knit, just so you know. I knit my own scarves and hats. Well, you all know that I live in Finland, and of course, especially during the winter, this is mandatory that we wear this kind of stuff outside. And I do know how to do it, but it doesn't mean that if you only crochet scarves, it will be easy for you. Maybe it will be even harder because you already have your own habits and it's more difficult for you to adapt and adjust to the amigurumi needs. And I am not telling you that this is a myth only based on my experience or my husband's experience, because you know that he also crochets and knits, but I'm telling you this based on the things that I have seen from many people in the field. As you know, I have been crocheting amigurumi and only amigurumi for 10 years already. And I have talked to so many people over this past decade. And that's why I'm telling you, and I know this is true. For some people, they take the amigurumi pattern and it works like this. It's very easy to adapt, but for other people, they struggle, and they struggle a lot. And that's why this is a myth. It's not a rule. It's not because you know how to crochet garment, it will be easy for you to crochet an amigurumi. Unfortunately, it's a different skill. And actually, if we think about it, it's not like, for example, cooking. Cooking is like the umbrella term, but if you know how to bake perfect cakes and desserts, not necessarily you know how to cook pasta or salty food. It's all cooking, but they are different. The same thing works with crochet.
Yeah, this was a good example.
Well, if you're enjoying this content and you're having fun with this video, remember to subscribe to the channel and give me a thumbs up so you won't miss any new tutorial tips, tricks, videos that I bring here every week. So now that we've busted these myths, I would love to hear from you. Which other myth would you add to this list? Please write to me in the comments because I would love to keep chatting with you, and I will leave you this video here because I am pretty sure you'll like it too.